one thing storytelling does do is bring together community. And that's what we want to see happen. The other thing that we're doing in this area is we're putting them at all the different neighborhood and community centers. They can laugh together, they can cry together, they can be inspired together. And I believe that's what storytelling does around the world.
But I was not the sort of pastor who preached people into hell at a funeral. I don't know if you've been to a funeral where the preacher's like, it's too late for him, but if you don't straighten your ways, you're going to hell right now. I never did. I always told my congregation, if you want me to tell you to go to hell, you come see me later. And so,
I'll tell the story about my aunt having the FBI come to vet her in 1940-something when all the neighbors thought she was in trouble. And so they all said they didn't know her. You know, so those are the kind of stories that I tell.
There's some FBI agents in my living room, and they said they want to know if we know Evelyn DeLarge Johnson, also known as Diamond. And I said, no, I don't know, but I do know. But I said I didn't know her. But you don't know me. And she said, I never heard of her. She said, okay, you keep saying that. Don't change that, just keep saying it.
But we want storytelling to become part of Hampton's culture. And the reason for that is in our world today, more people are talking at each other and not with each other, not to each other. And if people begin to share their stories, then they'll recognize that they have more commonalities than they think.
So my father was a church organist and choir master. Organ players never, ever, ever wear street shoes. My father had this very special pair of patent leather shoes. So he was kind of dangling his feet under there, and the laces were kind of dangling there off the shoes. So, very carefully, not to be noticed, I slid around behind my father. He didn't stop playing. So I got both shoes untied, and I tied them together. I knew that what should have happened was, dum-dum. But it was one single boom, which means it worked. You start knowing the bones of the story you want to tell, and you may work out specific phrases that you want to keep, but ultimately a storyteller is free to shift the story as you watch the audience, because the audience shifts. So what do you say? You close up the keyboard and we go home. Yeah. And I'm going to tell Mama it was a perfect day. And then he said, and about that trick you played on me with the shoelaces. It was pretty darn funny.
I got invited to an open mic storytelling event. I had just recently gotten divorced, and the theme of the night was love sucks. And I told a story about my ex-husband, and the audience thought it was funny, so they laughed at my pain. There's something really great about telling something painful and personal and sharing that with this group of strangers. So I fell in love with it.
His Papa gave him this here box. His name was Pomoni. He was an African. And say that African said that anything, any problems that we have can be solved by what's in this box. Some powerful stuff in this box, he said. But if we opens it for its time, then there's a big curse that'll come. I don't know if we should open that box.
Every other art comes from storytelling. Our dance is to create story. Our music is to sing story.
And then they heard Big Mama singing that song. I know why the birds always singing.
I know why the moon shines at night. Yesterday's gone, today's
What I see people walk away from when they leave a storytelling festival is they walk away thinking how nice this was. And one other thing, sometimes they walk away going, I think I have a story to tell.
I am the oldest and the very newest storyteller. So you don't need to hear from me today. You just need to know that I can talk. Last fall was kind of different for me, I guess, in a way. I was kind of looking for something to do that was meaningful, that would have some impact. And I called Sheila and I said, I want to run something by you. She said, what? I said, how about us do the Storytelling Festival in Hampton?
2011, I decided that I wanted there to be more storytelling. So I started Better Said Than Done, which is Northern Virginia's storytelling organization. And then in 2018, I was invited to perform at the National Storytelling Festival in Jonesboro, Tennessee. And since then, I have been performing at festivals and libraries and schools and museums and all over the country.
One of the wonderful things about having the Hampton Storytelling Festival this year is that it's the first festival of its kind that we're having in Hampton. And we are known in Hampton for having festivals, but nothing quite like this. And storytelling festivals tend to bring out people who want to hear and listen to something a little different.
I know Jade Johnson, who's one of the organizers, and Sheila Arnold, who's one of the other organizers. They've both performed with Better Said Than Done before, and I guess when they were thinking of who to ask to be in the festival, they thought of me. I wish I had a better answer, but it's really just up to the organizers who gets to perform and who doesn't, and so I was invited.
Big Papa would come in every evening and he'd hang that hat up on that hat nail. He always said, don't let the sun beat you down. Don't let nothing during the day beat you down that you don't enjoy coming home to the family.
This is the first year of the Hampton Festival, the Hampton Storytelling Festival, and it's small but mighty. I think that all of the programs have been just incredible. I've gotten, the ones that I'm in, I've gotten to watch as well because I'm not talking the whole time, and the performances have been great. We've had a really engaged audience, and we had people who just sort of wandered in off the street because they saw a sign, who came to one event and then ended up coming to more of the events because they were hooked. We had a few people who came to one event who said, I want to do this next year, I want to help, I want to tell, I want to volunteer. So I think it's going to grow, yeah.
I mean, people I had never seen before, people from counties away, because the reason they were there is because it was legendary. For 88 years, he's been doing everything that you're not supposed to do if you want to have a funeral in a church, right? I mean, he's been out there fighting and cussing and swearing, just everything. People wanted to know what the preacher could possibly say.
I want them to have just the feeling that they had a good time, and hopefully something that was in the story would spark them to think of a story of their own.